And we are back.
For the enemy warrior arc.
Yeah, let's get through. Oh yeah, you said it was new game, huh?
Yeah.
It's just 1 game, 2 game, and 3 game for each of the arcs.
I think so. I don't know what the third arc is, but we probably know now what the middle arc is. I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, the in case it doesn't make it in a B-roll, we were discussing the arc. It doesn't look like you go and fight the enemies in hell.
It
looks like maybe
planet that looks like a gumdrop.
Maybe we play as the enemies and get their bad side of things.
Oh boy. It's Purunga!
Purunga is his name?
The Namekian dragon.
Oh, that's
How
right.
did she
The
even-
Namekian dragon's different from the Earth dragon.
Which is his new Namek. How'd she find where new Namek was?
New Namek? From when Frieza was being a bitch?
So Namek exploded, and then the Namekians hung out on Earth for about 2 years, and at the end they wished to be transported to a new planet, a new Namek.
They used the Earth Dragon Balls to make a new Namek?
No, they didn't even make a new Namek. They literally found a new planet, and they called it New Namek.
And it just looks exactly like Namek?
Apparently this one does. It looks similar, but it looks slightly different. It was very similar to their world, though, yeah.
So, 16 and 21, that's 16, right?
Yeah.
So 16 and 21 gathered the Dragon Balls on New Namek to bring back the evil people. And
Yeah,
then eat
which
them.
is interesting. Which is interesting because Resurrection F, where they revive Frieza, they make a huge point that the Frieza Force could not find Namek's Dragon Balls, which is why they went to Earth and took a big risk to try and gather the Earth's Dragon Balls to revive Frieza.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like, what if the fucking Saiyans find us? It's like, we're gonna get this shit killed. We're gonna get killed as shit. We're just gonna look like a pile of pink shit. And it'll be all that's left of us.
So, have you entered the tournament arc in Super yet?
I just finished the first arc, which is just Choppa versus Beerus. But there's a bunch of tournament arcs. I haven't gotten to the one which is like episode 100 through 131 or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know them that well, so I'm not sure which ones they were. And I haven't seen any of Super other than, like, I've been checking out the, holy shit.
Oh,
I haven't
baby.
been checking out any, don't look down any fucking lower, we'll get to see Frieza dick. Whoa, that's weird, okay.
Oh shit!
No,
I got a tail
don't
now.
take a look for yourself. You are hideous.
And
you got
short.
fucking monkey hands for feet.
And you sound like you have robot feet
Yeah,
too.
you make that squeak sound. He's like, I'm fucking hideous.
Oh no!
Why did you do this to me?
Why is my skin so pale?
Yeah, so I haven't seen much
Why
of
am I
Super.
wearing lipstick?
I only watched the, he's like, wee, with the fingers. He's like, oh, I'm so fabulous.
Look at my physique.
I haven't seen Super. I've just seen the, some of the, like, highlights and stuff from people's YouTube channels and everything. And they're like, oh, yeah, the moment that Goku gets his butt kicked, or the moment that Hit, you know, does this. And I'm like, okay, I've got no context for what happens with any of it.
It was funny. I was starting this earlier in the last video. I was really against watching Super because I was so into Z and like the way it ended. But now that I started watching Z, I really do like watching Super. I really do like it.
Do you really do? You do really
It is
do?
funny. A bunch of people have a problem with Super because it is very lighthearted. It's very much even more lighthearted than the original Dragon Ball. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do with how old Akira is. I think a lot of people forget. He's like 62 right now.
Oh, that was going to be my question. How old is Akira?
Yeah, so
Toriyama?
Toriyama. He's around 62, and I think he just wants to make something fun and a little bit funny. And some people are a little bit bummed because even though Dragon Ball Z was funny, it was much more serious.
Yeah.
And it took things without the comedic nature, and the way Super starts is ridiculous. Beerus' entire motivation is eating. He loves sweets.
Yeah, I remember he was like super tired or something,
Yeah,
and like he'd
super
fall asleep in the middle of
lazy.
fights or some shit, or
Yeah.
or like they'd be like, oh, if we can do this, the Earth won't be killed, and then he'll be like, they're like, so what'd you think? And he'd be like, just asleep. It's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
He's not a very menacing villain, and I feel
He's not a villain, right? He's just a catalyst for change.
he's not really he's not even a villain. He's more so just he exists. He is a balancer. He is a destroyer.
It would be like if ants were looking at a human being.
Yeah.
The human's not evil, but he steps on us and destroys our colonies on accident. It's like, well, not really accident, but you're in his way, so fuck it. He's not
Yeah.
evil. He's not looking down going, I'm gonna snuff these lives from the planet. He's like, oh shit, ants, kick. Like, no big deal. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
does that make him evil? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on perspective.
His livelihood, his life depends on him actually destroying. His
Oh,
whole
shit,
thing,
does it?
yeah. So when the god or whatever his name is,
Whis' god
Whis'
person?
boss,
Yeah.
let's just say God comes around, at one point he says, maybe I need to reassign new destroyers, and they go pale.
Oh,
They're
I can imagine, yeah.
So, I mean, they're not mortal, but they're not unable to be killed either.
They're not top of the food chain.
They can be erased from existence if they wanted. Apparently, that little guy in just a blink can just, boop, everything's gone.
Yeah, there was something like, if you don't mind me talking about the super arc from what I've seen, like
Yeah.
the people who leave, or not leave, people who lose, he's just like, bye, and they fucking, the whole universe is gone.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. Because there's like multiple universes. There's like 8 or 9 or 14 universes. Or some
There
shit.
were 13 universes, and then
Not
he
anymore.
decided to say goodbye to one of them and just like, this universe 13 doesn't exist anymore. Boop.
I guess they were doing something like something along the lines of like they ranked the power level of all the universes, and anyone over 3 or some shit. I don't know. I'm pulling the number out of my ass. Doesn't have to compete, but anyone under does have to compete, and then the top one won't be just deleted, and everyone else will. And I was like, oh shit, that's not cool. And then I got a little bit uninterested when I started seeing that one of the universes, like 6 or some shit, was like a clown fucking universe. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Their Lord of Destruction looks like a fucking clown reject.
Yeah,
Is she just gonna try and explode shit to get out?
probably.
Or he? I keep
He.
saying she.
Yeah, Frieza's a man, very effeminate man.
I know. I just
It took me a long time as well. When I first saw Frieza being voiced by a woman, I was
I'm bad with gender names. If it
Yeah.
looks like one thing, I generally just go for that.
Frieza is supposed to be androgynous, though. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be very feminine and very much not your hyper masculine. I think as an effort to kind of subvert what you would like anticipate as an antagonist.
Well,
at
I
the
was
time when
I
it
was thinking
created.
almost it was to put like almost like an uncanny valley type thing in a villain to where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, if he's just buffer and stronger than Goku, it's just another thing he gets to take down. But if
Yeah.
it's like if it's something that is opposite or different than what you anticipate, it almost adds like a level of like anxiety to it. It's not quite uncanny valley. That's not the word I should be using, but I don't know what word I would be using. It kind of subverts your thought of what could be evil, much like a little kid.
Yeah.
Or a doll or something like that. There's nothing really generally horrific about it or scary about it, but you're like, the fact that these things shouldn't be able to cause fright or harm makes it even scarier. Like if a guy coming at you with a hatchet is coming at you, you're like, oh shit, but you have a gun. You're like, okay, no big deal. But if a kid or a doll or something that looks like it shouldn't cause you any harm is coming at you with nothing and you have a gun, you're like, I feel unsafe slightly. You know, like something about that trope. That subversion of what you're thinking.
Yeah, I know with Frieza, but it was a specific point with Akira. He made Frieza extremely small in its first form. Very,
Yeah.
not imposing at all. And I think it was very much intentional when he made Frieza bigger and buffer and more scary. And then in the final form, he decided, oh no, it's going to be sleek. I love Frieza's design.
I really like the way that he went about the designs for characters where they get buffer but slower, and then their
Yes.
form is where it's more balanced, between buff and not just being a meathead looking kind of character. Because otherwise, then you're just gonna have muscles on muscles on muscles on muscles forever. You're gonna have like 7 traps and 52 fucking glutes, and I mean, they're just gonna be rippled on top of each other. You're gonna look like a fucking like an ocean from a bird's eye view. It's just
I
gonna be
believe a lot
bubbles
of that was in in response to Berserk, the anime, and like animes of its time, where the villains were just, like you said, muscles on 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 muscles.
Yeah.
and their designs weren't that interesting, and Akira had a very much...
I could see it being hard to animate too, because you're like, this goes against all of my...
Not that manga artists really think of that, but I think he was heavily influenced by Osamu Tezuka, who did Astro Boy and Kimba the
Astro
Lion.
Boy is basically just fucking little lines for their arms. There's like no muscle in anatomy.
Yeah, and he was very much inspired by Walt Disney. Osamu Tezuka was considered the Disney of Japan in many, many ways.
I can actually see that.
Yeah, I believe Gigantor was also one of his as well.
I don't know what that
But he created a lot of stuff, and there's a whole... I was watching a video the other day about how much Kimba the Lion, which was created by Osamu Tezuka, is so much like The Lion King.
Yes, it's a direct ripoff. I mean, the other way around.
Yeah.
The Lion King is a direct ripoff of...
I found something interesting out. Walt Disney actually wanted to pay Osamu Tezuka and wanted to do an adaptation before he died of Kimba the Lion. He really liked his work, and vice versa. Osamu Tezuka really was inspired by Disney. I felt that it came down probably from Michael Eisner, who pushes like, no, this is original IP. It was completely original.
I think copyright was a little different too back then.
Copyright in Japan is very different as well, and there are things that are different. Some of the tones, for instance, Kimba wears his dad's coat, like his dad's pelt, and runs around. They don't do that in The Lion King.
Yeah, I can imagine why.
But there's too many similarities to say they weren't inspired by
Kimba and Simba. Seriously, yeah.
I mean, in Swahili,
Simba
means lion cub or something similar to that. So they do have some leeway there. But some of the scenes, some of the iconic scenes in the manga are in Lion King. They're too close to say, no, you were definitely inspired by that. There's way too many similarities to say you guys didn't try and do an adaptation of this story. And I think that's where the issue comes. It's okay to do an adaptation or change things and readapt it for an American audience. But yeah, Disney should have said, but now they're never going to because Lion King is too huge and they'd have to pay all this money.
Oh yeah.
So they're just
retroactively
they're going to stick to it. And my
advice, going to hope Kimba just doesn't ever
never will
any kind of real following, and they're just like,
it is a huge following.
The people
in the
know, but the people who don't,
Yeah, it is one of those things that characters do have different characteristics. Like the overall plot and everything is similar, but even some of the actors like Matthew Brodnick thought he was playing Kimba because he knew of the story. And he's like, oh yeah, that thing, right?
Well, isn't Kimba even just a ripoff of like old stories of like family and royalty kind of?
You could say that for sure. You can say it's based off myths and legend.
Yeah. But I mean, like it's everything's gonna have that story.
Everything is inspiration. Nothing is truly original.
Really?
Nothing is truly original.
What about me? What about my DNA?
Well, I guess that. But what about that Nicolas Cage that's a vampire? That image. He exists and he looks just like him.
You know what kind of fucked me up when I was a kid? We're talking about original things.
Yeah.
People are like, oh yeah, no snowflake is ever alike. Nothing about it is ever alike. They're all unique. And then I found out they were like, oh no, there's only like 42 different ways a fucking snowflake can form. Sure, they might not be exact copies, but they're like 99.9% fucking the exact same for the vast majority of them. Like, don't listen to that lie. I was like, my whole childhood is a lie.
No,
snowflakes aren't unique.
Pluto's not a planet. What's going on? Not Uranus too.
Uranus is not a planet, Samuel. It's Uranus.
It's a gas giant, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Jupiter.
I think I'm just making that up for the sake of a joke.
Jupiter is maybe a gas giant. Uranus. You know what? Your fucking Uranus might be a gas giant because that does sound hilarious. I'm just gonna make that my new canon.
My new headcanon is now Uranus is just giant gas past gas by a god.
And if it's
through our universe.
And if it's true, more power to me. But if it's not, well, it's a good joke.
At first, I was treating this like when I play it on my computer, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go kill everything. I was like, wait a minute.
We have story and goals.
We have story and goals.
Yeah, otherwise there's gonna be an 80-episode series of fight.
Yes.
Fight.
Oh,
it's like, okay, the story is great, but damn, man, it's been 4 days since we've seen a story happen on this fucking game. Well, we're at a good clip now. Whoa, where are your eyeballs?
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out what happened to Nappa's eye sockets next time.
Yeah. Bebop pupils, right?
Yeah, his pupils.
They're as white as his teeth. I wonder what he uses to whiten.
Maybe his eye sockets too, though. It's
probably just bleach.
His eye sockets could be fucked up as well.
He's got no brain and no eyes. It's just the inside of his bleached skull that we're seeing.
Yeah. It's a scary
You're like, oh, you think that's the white part of his eyes? No, that's the inside of his skull.